I want to go ahead and say this first off, is that growing up as a kid, I hated the Knicks with an absolute passion. From Georgetown galloping Patrick Ewing with his 4 steps and his 2 pivot feet and a hop, his clumsy ass flopping around, to Anthony Mason's stupid looking line that he had shaved into his goddamn head, John Starks with his pouty, I can't control my emotions self. Like, I could go on and on. Greg Anthony with his cheap shot artist, smug-looking face motherfucker. Like, I hated the Knicks of the 90s. I respected them. I did. I hated them. But I respected the shit out of them, too, at the same time. Because I knew they were legit. I knew that was a team that could give the Bulls some problems, and they did. So, no question in my mind that as much as I still hate the Knicks, and will always hate the Knicks, and that's just the way it is, I am absolutely happy on the same token that they're a good team again, that they're relevant. Because the NBA is better when the Knicks are relevant. The NBA is better when the Bulls are relevant. The NBA is even better when both teams are relevant at the same time. And certainly from a fan experience from both teams' standpoint, it is much, much better when both of these teams are very good and they face off against each other, because you can feel some of the echoes of the rivalries of the past. Fuck yes. And when you look at some of the other intriguing elements involved with this, is that you got Derrick Rose, was supposed to be the franchise savior of Chicago, the hometown kid, and now he plays Thibodeau. The Bulls' former coach is now the coach there in damn New York. Like, you got interesting subplots around
the fact that you've got 2 good teams that are playoff teams facing off. Like, I fucking love it. The only thing I love more than that is being able to beat the Knicks. Yeah! So goddamn right I was hyped up and ready to go for this game on Sunday night. Said, fuck the bullshit. The Bulls better win this one because they got to get some revenge for that early season loss. The Knicks handed them the first loss of the year. Get that shit back, run it back, and do it right. And thankfully, the Bulls did. It wasn't easy. They started off okay. They were up 25-20 after 1. And Lonzo had 8. Zach LaVine had 6. You had Bradley, Tony Bradley. He's kind of, like, one game he'll be okay, and the next game he'll be really bad. And you look at him and you say, what the fuck is he even on the floor for? But he got off to a good start in this game. He really did. He was having a bit of an impact, being a presence in the paint, both offensively and defensively. The one thing that was a problem for the Bulls was Julius Randle. He had 10 points in the first quarter, and you could tell that they were having some trouble matching up with him, which was going to be a theme kind of throughout the game. But into the second quarter, the Bulls continued to play at a decent level, and DeMar DeRozan woke up in the second quarter. He had 12 at half to lead the Bulls. LaVine and Ball had 8 each, so LaVine and Ball both had quiet second quarters, but it didn't really kill the Bulls here. Which, again, reminder, another game. Now, even though you're back home, you still don't have Vucevic in the lineup, and you're facing a quality opponent, a playoff team like the Knicks. Like, it's a pretty good performance to come out and say you got a lead at the half. Tony Bradley had 7 points. You look at the Knicks, Randall had 14 to lead the way. Derrick Rose had 9. Key thing for the Knicks and the Bulls in this matchup was the fact that R.J. Barrett absolutely sucked in this one. He was 0 for 6 from the field in the first half, and I think he was something like 2 for 12 from the field for the game. And it even led me to ask at the end of the game last night, is R.J. Barrett always this doo-doo? It sure looks that way. Like, he was terrible. Evan Fournier was only 1 of 5 from the field in the first half. Looked like Caruso got into his head a little bit. I don't know what the hell happened. But to the Knicks' credit, they came back out in the third quarter and they took it to the Bulls a little bit. Julius Randle exploded. He had 13 points in the quarter. DeMar DeRozan tried to do his part as the best player on this team right now. Yeah, I fucking said it. Eat shit if you don't like it. DeRozan had 11 in the quarter. But you look at it, the Bulls were having some trouble, getting their own shot off. They were having some trouble, getting efficient offense here. And they were
ended up losing that lead that they had at the half, and they were down 74-72 in the third. And I'm sitting there saying, oh, they cannot lose to this damn Knicks team again. Once is one thing, but again? Well, they didn't. The Bulls found themselves a little bit in the fourth quarter. And yes, I'll talk about it in a moment because I know some of you are going to be like, well, let's go there. But Kobe White had a nice little stretch there in the fourth quarter where, in the first half, his minutes were shit. It was like 2 of 7 from the field. Like, let's not pretend like that didn't happen, folks. Leave it to Chicago fans to be giggly tits over mediocrity. But Kobe had a nice stretch there in the fourth quarter when the team needed some offense. He was able to deliver. DeRozan, he had another good quarter to kind of close out the game. Levine had a kind of a quiet night overall. Wasn't the best shooting from the field. In some moments where you just kind of get frustrated with him a little bit. But, in general, they still ultimately had enough. The Bulls came back, did enough, won the game 109-103, and it feels good to get that revenge on the Knicks. Yeah! Sorry, D-Rose, not sorry. Fuck you, you play for the enemy now. That's why I don't even like when the fans cheer for him. No. I don't begrudge the man for going to apply his craft and make a living by any stretch of the imagination, but he plays for fucking the Knicks now. Fuck him. And any of you that want to be nice to Tibbs, fuck him too. Again, don't begrudge him for getting another job and another opportunity, but goddamn. I ain't never going to be nice to somebody that goes and play with the damn Knicks. Like, you remember, like, post-lockout, when Jerry Krause thought it was a good idea to bring in John Starks for like 3 or 4 games. John Starks is one of the most hated Bulls in Chicago history, and he only played a couple of games in Chicago. So fuck D-Rose and fuck Tibbs too. But obviously, it's a nice win for the Bulls coming back home after that 5-game road trip that they ended up with the 3-2 record on, to be able to win this game here again without Vucevic, and obviously escaping hopefully without any major key injuries, because the first go around, this was the Knicks game where Patrick Williams hurt his wrist in the early, I think, second half, and he ended up being out for the damn season pretty much. For those of you that are going to celebrate Kobe White, yeah, he had 14 points, 10 of them in the fourth quarter, but he's still mediocre. He had a couple of shots that he hit there in the fourth that were key. I'm not going to lie and say they weren't. But he's still the 6th best guard in this damn team. And once Vucevic comes into the lineup, like, how are you going to balance out these minutes? Like, I'm looking ahead. You guys are trying to justify why this guy was taken 7th overall a couple of years ago. Now, if he could provide a little more consistently of what he did on Sunday night, then yeah, there's a role for him, 10 to 15 minutes a game. When I start seeing his minutes creep up to 20, 25, I'm going to start getting worried, because you could talk about, well, this is what he did offensively. You're also forgetting that he's a bit of a ball vacuum. He doesn't have the same explosiveness. He doesn't. He's a bad facilitator, distributor, creator for others. We all know this. The Bulls have been trying to play him out of role the past couple of years because they wanted him to be the point guard, and he just ain't that. What does he do? Okay, he's a hot and cold, high-volume shooting scorer who's not that impressive. His offensive repertoire in and of itself is limited, and he's a fucking liability to all ends on the defensive end. And for a team that plays really good defense, you might argue, Will, you can hide him a little bit. No, you don't want to be hiding him. So once Vucevic gets back in the lineup, like, it's going to redistribute and reshift your minutes around, how many are you really willing to give to Kobe White here? I could see if he was more dynamic as a scorer and be like, fuck what he'd do on the defense. Like, he could get buckets in a hurry with some level of efficiency. He could be that type of dude that gives you that huge spark that, frankly, I will admit, the Bulls need off of the bench. But he ain't that fucking dude. I'm just saying. So y'all can sit there and celebrate your mediocrity all you want. That's fine. I stand by everything that I said and will continue to fucking say. Kobe White should have been traded along with Patrick Williams before the season began. I'm right, and will continue to be right on that fact. This is what it is. But enough about that. It does feel good, though, to see the Bulls get this win. They were solid on Sunday night. It wasn't like peak Bulls performance. Because that Knicks defense was causing them some problem too, let's be clear. Especially in that third quarter, the Bulls were having some trouble. But they found a way to get it done. And very, very happy that they did. Because anytime Bulls team can beat a Knicks team, especially when both teams are actually good and legit, that always feels good. And if you're asking me, do I want to see the Knicks in the playoffs? If it happens to work out that way, you're damn right I do. Because fuck them, that's why.